Look, Minister, I want to glad to be able to speak on this bill here this morning. It's something that should have been done back in April. I, on behalf of the rural independents, attended the briefings with the Taoiseach and Dr. Holohan and others. I would sympathise with Dr. Holohan and his recent bereavement. And we asked, every time I asked certainly, why do we not close our borders? When I got the same thing was tapped out, talk that, oh, we couldn't, we're Europeans. When I pointed to Poland and to Hungary, oh, I just scoffed at. So we're really punishing our people. Our ordinary people are punished. They're terrorised, many of them. And the RTE radio station are terrorising them hourly, not to mind say daily. And as I said the last day, that farmer talked to Lee, George Lee, has found his true vocation in trying to scare the life out of the people. And it's not balanced, it's not logical, and it's not fair. And the ham-fisted way that you, Minister, and Taoiseach Martin have taken over from the previous Minister and Taoiseach Harris and Deputy Harris and Varadkar, you've dropped the ball spectacularly. And none more so than your appearance on Clarebone on Monday night, which thankfully I didn't see, but I heard enough about it. And it is shocking that the Minister of Health would be so ill-informed, so out of his depth, and so inadequate and poor, and that has been the raison d'etre of your government since you took over. And you closed the hospital in Carrick. Minister Butler here today that you had designated St. Bridget's Hospital in Carrick. You had it designated for a step down. You seconded it back in March, April, and you closed it down in the middle of a pandemic. Who would do that in their right mind? When you have money thrown at every kind of a problem, but you have treated your own people with disdain, contempt, and the rights of their freedom and their inalienable rights that they have under the Constitution are meant to have been trampled on. The little green book has been shredded. And this is more about here today, so I have very mixed ideas about this because there's gaping holes in it, and it will take another, I suppose, 6 weeks, I'd say, at best, before it's implemented. Here we are, and we'll be into the summer season, and people coming in all over it. Porous. You blame the border in Northern Ireland, but the ports and indeed the airports people have been flooding through, and the Gardaí are confused. Anything you've done, and then we hear people on from AXI and on from the Statutory Inspectors Association and the GRA, they know nothing about it. And like Deputy Collins said, Minister Rabbitte giving out information, he was totally erroneous and quite stupid, and people expected to deal with it. So I don't know. I mean, we have several amendments down there which we'll be moving later. I'm glad they were accepted, but will they be reached? Because you're guillotining this bill with so limited time to debate it. Such drastic measures. But there's gaping flaws in the drafting of this legislation. And I say it'll be challenged in the courts and challenged everywhere. But, I mean, the industry is just being crippled. Ordinary people, the mental health. I mean, I had a case recently, not from my own constituency, of a man who is very depressed with this situation, and he's going private for mental health. It's going to take him over 12 months to get an appointment. Do you realise that, Minister? And he's paying for it. And not to mention the people that are out there suffering in the public system. And the cancer patients, and we've heard this morning, breast check, people that were due, it was read Saturday morning on this morning, that were due to be called this month in 2021, it will now be more than likely, to the acceptance month, be 2022. And the misdiagnoses, and the fear in the people, and the anxiety in the people. Yet, while you have made an utter thundering disgrace of the vaccines. I put it to you for a third time, Minister. I put it to you last November, I put it 3 weeks ago again. Someone said earlier, Deputy O'Dowd said earlier, he was lecturing us here, how good the government were performing and how good we were. I mean, we have the size of one county rolled out. I put it to you here last November that there were 2 million flu vaccines distributed or bought or put out there, and you can only account in your department for 1.4 million. And I've asked you to prove me wrong on that. And 2 million, how then were we going to be fit to roll out? You have 10 million now you've ordered. I also want to ask you, did you go outside the EU? Because the EU, we've been the good guys in Europe always, but we're getting only the crumbs. Did you try and source vaccines elsewhere? I also asked you, I have doctors practicing here who didn't get their vaccines last Wednesday, yesterday week. They were to get 116, 120, and they never arrived. You can imagine those people that were ready to come and been phoned. Some of them elderly. I had a 100-year-old lady, Ben Tibberdon, a wonderful woman, in her 101st year, and her son rang me the other day, when is she going to get the vaccine? She's one of those with that doctor. I have the same situation in Carrick-on-Suir, South Kilkenny practice, where they didn't arrive either. And that can happen. Anyone can make mistakes, but there's no idea when they're going to get them, no idea where they went, and no idea when they're going to be fall into place again. the people the carers are out there. The people in vulnerable situations, I spoke about one before to you, a young lady, Valerie, in Carrick-on-Suir in Tipperary, who's had a serious accident and has her own care team in. She applies them privately, and she wants the vaccine. No way can't she get it, because she's afraid her carers get it or she'll get it with lethal consequences. But the bungling and the misappropriation of vaccines, which was endemic in the HSE ever before we had this so-called pandemic. So now, Minister, we're being punished, and the Irish people have been punished punitively for the failures, abject failures of several ministers and the HSE over the years, Minister for Health. The Taoiseach set it up, I don't know how many years ago, so he's hardly going to disband it, even though former Taoiseach, Hearn and Cowan told me they were disbanding it because it was dysfunctional. And it has got more dysfunctional, and the lack of accountability, and the millions and millions that have been fired at problems now. Money's no problem. Whatever's been done, I know from contractors, get in, do it, spend the money. No accountability whatsoever. The fact that you had 12 months now to put in place extra beds, extra facilities, and you never did one thing. Not an extra bed, maybe 5 or 6, and no capacity, even though you have locked out mental health institutions in Clonmel, closed it up, and spent 1.4 million on St Michael's, but you won't allow a mental health patient in it, even post-pandemic. Minister, you'll go down in history, obviously, as look, I won't even say it because I want to be, it's a seasonal lint, I'll be charitable, but you're not at the races here. Someone said the horse is bolted. The horse, I say, is in Cheltenham. I say, or if he's not farther away. And again, members, this House went to Cheltenham last year, and it should ensure that no members go this year to Cheltenham, or Cheltenham be held. But, I mean, the reckless behaviour, and how people think that obeying the restrictions and doing everything right, and seeing the flouting of the laws, and see what's going on in the mosque here recently. Well, I couldn't get ashes last Wednesday in a church in Dublin, but the mosques are freely open. We saw what happened at a funeral yesterday in Rathkeil. Hundreds of people there. And we're told then these are people in minorities that we must respect. They're just flouting the law and telling the people that properties lie down at what it is. Now, again, to the Irish people, and to help with the Dini Oge or the Dini Bioga, and let people do what they like in other areas. Go on,